Welcome to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Gee, I hope I didn't make a mistake with these two. They promised me they'd bring in some really good guests. Well, anyway, here's Frank and Irene.
Well, hello. It's Irene. I'm solo. I feel orphaned. I feel alone. Mr. Frank Conniff is having technical difficulties. And so I told him to restart his computer because that seems to be like the old standby. That's what you do. Technical difficulties, restart, voila, you're back on. Anyway, that lovely intro, I always like to plug my friend Gabby Glazer from Luscious Jackson. She's incredible. She was the guitarist for that band. I loved it. Naked Eye. You guys remember that song, Naked Eye, right? Am I the only one? Am I dating myself? Whatever. Thank you, Gabby, for Balls Out from her album, Gimme Splash. I love that song. So yes, welcome to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene. Frank will join us shortly. Today we have an amazing show. So I've been trying to meditate a little bit more these past few weeks because I keep hearing the benefits of meditation, although I'm too busy to doing nothing to ever find the time. But today I actually tried to meditate. I did. I listened to one of those guided meditations and it was relaxing, but I don't know if I'm the only person that does this, but every time I listen to a meditation tape, it's like I'm doing good. I'm focused. I'm relaxing. And then all of a sudden I'm hungry. I just get really, really hungry. And all I can keep thinking about is that I'm seriously hungry and I need to eat something. Anyway, so there's that. Oh, there he is. I was just telling everybody, hello, Mr. Coniff.
Hi.
Oh, hi. I was just blabbering on about meditation, Frank, and how every time I try to meditate, I get really hungry or I start thinking about my to-do list.
Well, my whole life I'm in a meditative state, apparently.
I'm jealous. How do you see?
I'm hungry a lot.
Oh, I get it. See, it took me a little second. This blonde tip is making me dumber. I'm getting rid of it. I'm literally getting rid of it. So restarting does the trick. I mean,
who knew?
Who knew, right? And I was just telling everybody, if you have technical problems, please restart your computer. So where's Millie today?
Millie is over on the other couch, so unless she comes over here, you won't get to see her.
We won't get to see her. Frank, I've been trying to adopt a dog, and I've been telling you this for the longest time. I'm trying to get a dog, and it's like I filled out so many applications, but I feel like I'm not getting any responses, and I'm getting very frustrated.
You're just in the process of applying, and you're not hearing back from them to get your dog. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Frank.
Well, they ought to give you a dog. I think you'll.
Thank you, sweetie.
You would crush it as the dog owner. I can totally see that.
You would crush it. Frank, do you know what somebody told me? Somebody actually told me that because I've been very upset about this, and every time I check back in, I feel like all of a sudden somebody's asking you, how are you doing, Frank? He's doing awesome.
I'm fine, thank you.
Look at him. And, every time I look back, it's been adopted, so I get a little upset. But somebody told me that actually they give dogs away to people that have children, which now I feel like I'm being judged by the adoption.
Oh, absolutely, because you're getting a dog because you want a child.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. Don't step on my shit. I was going to say the little dog is a substitute for the goddamn children, as the cat is the husband. But now I'm being judged, and I'm not getting a dog because I don't have children or other pets. It's really crazy.
Yeah, that's not right.
Well, what happened with Millie, Frank? How did you get Millie?
Millie was a friend of mine in L.A., who some people might know from because she's been on TV, Teresa Strausser. She was the host of a show called Fixing Up Your Room, or I forget the name of it. It's one of those kind of shows. And she's awesome. She's also a really great writer. And we were good friends. And she gave me her cat, my cat Barney, was from a litter of her cats. Her cat had babies, and that's where Barney came from. And then Millie was a rescue that was found underneath a car in LA as a little kitten. And Teresa, someone gave it to Teresa, but Teresa couldn't have it, so she gave it to me, and that was it.
Wow, I love this story. Look at this. You're so lucky that somebody just handed you two.
Yes, I didn't have to go through any process.
Judgment.
I never had, because I had 2 other cats before this too. And Haley, don't tell Millie, Haley's my all-time favorite cat. But Haley,
oh God, I think she heard you, Frank.
Haley lived in this girl I was seeing in Minneapolis. We went to the farm where her mother lived. Because Minneapolis, people come from farms. It's weird, but we went to the farm, and there were all these barn cats, and there were like goats and all kinds of animals, and there were these barn cats, and Haley was just a little kitten sitting on a bale of hay, and she kept looking at me and wouldn't take her eyes off me, and I'm like, I get your message. You want me to adopt you. So I did, and I took her home, and that's why I named her Haley, because she was on a bale of hay, and that's how I got her. And my other cat, Duke, I got just from a friend of mine. So like, I never had to go to a shelter, which shelters are awesome. People should go to shelters, but it's the process. I guess they want to be really careful, They
want to be really careful, and fuck them, okay? She could live on Staten Island. I know it's on Staten Island, but she'll have a beautiful backyard. I'm sitting here waiting. Look at you. You didn't sweat at all. It's like it's a metaphor for my entire life, this adopting a pet, Frank. My career, everything has to be jumping through hoops. Meanwhile, you're sitting in your recliner. You've been handed 3 cats. You had Barney, exceptional, 4 cats, and Haley, who was, a farm cat. So I have a question here. What about your girlfriend, Frank? I was going to ask you, your girlfriend. Now, was she a farm girl herself, comedian?
Well, she grew up on the farm, but she was living in Minneapolis. So she. But a lot, and also the thing that when you grow up in New York, when you live in a place like Minneapolis, the thing that's really striking about it is that you go 15 minutes out of the city and you're in farmland.
Yeah, right. I know. I went to school in Wisconsin, Frank. I loved it. I was
Wisconsin, that's the same thing,
Yeah, I was in Duluth. I went to college in Superior, and there's nothing superior about it. I got to preface that. But I love that area. I love that area.
Yeah, it's great. So
was she a comic?
Yes.
Okay. And so you guys met in did you date her for a long time?
A little while, I fucked it up eventually, as I often do, but
Frank, I can't fucking picture you fucking it up. You know what? It could have been, Frank. You're just not astrologically
She is into astrology too. I'll tell you.
No, Frank.
She is. What? And every woman that I met out there was into. The idea of women that aren't into astrology. That's a very rare thing.
Is it now, Frank?
In my personal experience.
Your personal experience. Well, you know what? And on that note, I think maybe I'll bring on our guest that's waiting backstage, who has a thing or two to say about astrology. But Frank, when was her birthday? Before we get started.
Oh, I don't know.
December? I don't know. You don't remember? Well, these are possibly the things, it was a long time ago, but possibly also the things leading up to the breakup. The astrology, the the astrology. Anyway, okay, so Frank, you love this woman. I love this woman. She's been on our show before, and she's back. I love her. I call her my sister, my shake sister. Let's give it up for the hilarious, the lovely, the amazing Rachel Feinstein, everybody.
Oh my goodness, I'm really red.
You're not red. You look fantastic.
Well, you know what? We all just have to accept ourselves because it's all over anyway.
It's all over.
Good point.
Shake sister, Rachel, we were talking about, I'm trying to get a dog because all my friends are having children. You were my holdout. I was hoping, but I love Frankie, so I can't complain. And I can't get a dog, apparently, because I don't have children. And they need someone to play with. Yeah.
Well, I mean, So you asked me whether I want a dog?
No, you don't want a dog. I don't think you do. Do you? You can't. No, I won't allow it.
No, I can't. I would lose a dog. I would just, yeah, that would be it. And like,
I feel like I should start a pet adoption agency called the Lonely Shut-In Pet Adoption Agency.
I like it, and I
cater to people who don't have kids and just want a companion, an animal companion. Don't have to prove to anybody that that they're family people or whatever.
I love this. Wait, Frank, does this qualify as copywriting? Because I love that fucking idea. Okay, and maybe I can get a goddamn dog. I have a human name for it and everything. I'm getting ready to do this. Rachel, you look stunning, sweetie. Stunning. How's my little angel?
I plastered an active lie on my face for this, you guys. I've just put myself at a sink, just all kinds of lie. I've lacquered myself for you, Frank.
I appreciate it.
Frank appreciates it. He's not this like, listen, sweetie, the cans.
He says, I'm going to see Frank today. Get the cans in order.
I was telling Frank how we went to get our eyes checked and the guy wasn't even looking at me until the cans came out. And then suddenly he started shaking a leg and he was helping me and helping Rachel. We looked like a couple of, I don't know what's.
Sometimes you've got to hoist your cans on a plate and ask for what you want in this rancid life.
And
my
then
grandmother said that. She said, sometimes you just have to take your cans, hoist them upwards, march in there, put a cigarette on somebody's forehead and say, give me what I fucking want.
That's right. And put on some fucking lipstick. Rachel, how is my little Frankie doing? Now, Rachel just recently had a baby and I never thought you would.
We talked about that last time you were here.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we're actually not close, but no, she's great. We just have different schedules. No, I do love her, which I guess makes me a hero because I love my own daughter. I was so terrified to give birth. I was scared the whole time.
That's why you sliced her out like a good mother, sweetie, and preserved your vagina, sweetie. You did good.
Tiniest scar. He ran a tight ship. But no, I was really nervous, but I think I considered all the negative parts and then the positive parts surprised me. But I was like trying to explain this to Irene, but she has this expression now. She's standing up at her crib. And when I walk in there, she goes like this. She goes, she nods at me like a 65-year-old woman, like who's been through a few marriages.
Like in therapy. She's like your therapist.
She goes like this. She goes,
posturing, listening.
And like she looks at me like you run into like, like some elder woman at like Filene's basement, like things are good. Stand. How's he coping with the retirement? It takes a while. They get very anxious. At first, they're very anxious, and then they fall into it. Like it's weird. She just has this you're all right. But I was I was nervous to have a kid because I am like an oversharer, and my worst fear was I was like, what if I don't love my kid? Because I'll tell everybody.
Hey.
I'll tell anybody.
That would be so refreshing if you.
Yes, it really would be. Well, you know what, Rachel? You know Rachel. There's another Rachel Feinstein, Curran. Frank, you know her. She's been on our show. Yes. The other Rachel Feinstein, Curran. I love her too, sweetie. She actually said to me when she had her son, Francis, she couldn't stand him in the beginning because they didn't bond at all. She's like, no, I don't like him one bit. He's a piece of crap. He's like always sucking on my nipple. He's not giving back. And it wasn't until they could actually bond that she felt like, okay, now I can say that I love my son. So
I think I was afraid. I was like, I would tell everybody. I'd be at a barbecue and somebody would be like, she's cute. And I'd be like, isn't it weird that I don't love her? I feel nothing. That was years. I'd be like, and guess what? I don't even love her. But when I did love her, I thought that made me like really special. I was like, isn't that amazing? That and my brother's like, no, most people love their own kids. You don't have to tell people that. But,
I think it would be very refreshing if you became the first parent who ever didn't say that having kids taught you to change your priorities and to,
right.
They haven't changed Rachel's. No, not at all. In fact, Rachel is exactly the same, but worse even. Right, sweetie?
I'm still a vain bitch. The hardest part of quarantine for me was like the spray tans and the blowouts, like just living without all of that.
And the exercising, sweetie. Who was there for you?
Oh my God, were you working me out?
Right
sweetie?
Down to the labor pains, sweetie. 2 more, 3 more, right? We were fucking working it out.
I love Irene, and I loved her taking her aerobics classes. At Lucille Roberts, this comedian used to call Irene's gym "Living Well Lady," and Irene was like, "Sweetie, it's Lucille Roberts."
Your sweetie.
Becky Donahue.
That's right.
Like, all right, I'll meet you at Living Well Lady or some shit, but I don't like to fucking move my legs. And then Irene would be there with, I mean, you've never seen so much energy. And when people would in, and the women were really phoning it in. I mean, they would come in like fucking tracksuits and like Doc Martens and heavy jeans and like biker jackets.
And also a knife mark. One of my favorite people had like a big, she came out of prison. You know, these were tough ladies.
I'm trying to move the thing up. Yeah, you know, I do remember there were a lot of serious, most of the women had been freshly incarcerated. I do remember at one point, Irene was teaching the class and one of the girls was like fucking just like checking her watch or going like this. Like she was supposed to do like and she was just like, And Irene was like, sweetie, speak up. Are we cardio pussies, sweetie? Are we cardio pussies? And I love that she was just in this public gym with a headset off on screaming cardio pussies. And she did that regularly. She used the phrase. Whenever anybody was like lagging behind, she's like, are you a cardio pussy or aren't you?
I remember, Rachel, you're so funny. I love you. I remember wearing that we had these headsets, Frank. I remember going to the bathroom. I forgot that I had it on and I was like talking about how fucking Lucille Robert was I'm like, she's so cheap, sweetie. Fuck her and her $20 paycheck. She could shove it right up her vagina. And the whole gym heard me because I forgot to turn off my mic. I remember that, sweetie.
Oh, sweet.
That's right. And they could hear me peeing too, because I would forget to take it off. And as I was taking a leak, everybody's like, did you pee? And I was like, my God, sweetie, are you psychic? How did you know?
Listen, at my age, peeing is considered a workout. So be happy for people.
Stand and deliver, honey. I'll do whatever you need.
One of my favorite stories, Frank, that Rachel tells, and Rachel, I know you've said it a million times, but Frank's never heard it. When I first met Rachel in years, like 20 years ago, I was doing like a benefit for 9/11. And what I did was I made these paper mache twin towers and I brought them to the show. The show was called Hysteria. And Rachel, it was always me and Rachel, Cynthia Levin, Rena Zager. And we would do this show. And I made these paper mache towers. Rachel, take it from there. And she tells
me. She decides a few days after 9/11. Most of the crowd is firefighters. She's doing a big benefit for the boys, sweetie. Okay, decides that it might be a good idea to make paper mache twin towers, maybe 4 days after 9/11. So she puts them up there. They're very artsy, all right, a little flimsy. She's wearing some kind of Star-Spangled Banner like tube top, just like an American flag. Like
talk slower, please.
Yes. Get your lotion. If you're at home, everybody, go to a caller so you can all get your lotion. But so she was wearing, I guess, some sort of like a stars and stripes tube top and like a little American flag skirt. And she was like, sweeties, thank you for your service, sweeties. I know it's been a tough week, sweetie. Drinking wine, totally wine face, lips, teeth, everything. It was
all right. Now you've gone too far, sweetie.
Look, the rack was spectacular, sweetie. It still is. I don't see a change. So the boys were very happy staring at Irene's kittage and watching all this. And
your kittage, sweetie.
Well, thank you. I'll take it.
Speaking of the Twin Towers.
Oh, God, I love you. How do you do it?
I love you, Frank.
So Irene gets on stage, walks over. She's like, sweeties, thank you for your service, boys. We do it all for you, sweetie. Laughter and healing is what's most important. And then fucking knocks over one of the Twin Towers with her dumb stiletto. It goes falling on the ground. Irene doesn't even occur to her the irony of this. Like everybody's like, oh, like a hush comes over the room, and then she picks it up. Sweeties, love you all.
On the tower.
Picks it back up, does a bit of her set, then knocks over the other one with her other heel.
Hey, it's very in line with what happened.
It doesn't even, and in no moment does she acknowledge. She's just like, oh Jesus, sweetie, let me get this, sweetie. Just a Minzy, boys. Just picks it right back up. Everybody's like, It was one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen. And just you coming in there, hiking in there with your fucking tube top and the fucking towers under your shoulder. You're like, yeah, I got it all. Don't worry, guys.
I got this, fellas. Don't you worry about it. I'm sorry if this is causing PTSD right now as I stepped on both of the towers.
It's weird that you would pick like 3 days after 9/11 to start doing prop comedy.
I know. And she acted like it was just the most natural thing. Oh, sweetie, I'm going to pick up listen, I'm going to pick up some booze and we'll get the towers too. Don't worry. Clearly, there's a supply and demand issue for paper mache towers right after 9/11. Got to make sure those are up, sweetie, so I can kick them down with my stiletto.
Okay, this story. Okay, those were the good old days. Frank, I swear to God, I wish I knew you back then because those were the most fun. We had so much fun doing that show at St. Park.
You were so fun always. And the night you introduced me to my husband was
when I first met Rachel, when I first met Rachel, remember we met through Jim Florentine.
Yes. He called me up and he said, there's this girl, she runs a show. Her name's Irene Bremis. If you call her, I bet she'll let you do the show. So nervous. I called her for my nanny job. I was like shaking because I'd never met a comedian. So I called up and I'm like, hi, my name's Rachel Feinstein. You were like, I love that name, sweetie. I know Rachel Feinstein is a magical name, sweetie. And I was like, do you mind if I could maybe do a spot? And you were like, of course, sweetie. I love you. She said, I love you. Wow. And I right away, when I went down and met her at the show, she kissed me right in the mouth. And I said, this is going to be a lifelong friendship.
I know, sweetie. I kiss people on the mouth. I accidentally kissed that fucking falafel guy one time when I was walking past a falafel truck with Irene Zager. I was like, I know that guy. Hi, sweetie. And I gave him a big kiss on the lips. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know that guy, sweetie. I remember that too. Yeah. It was,
did you at least get a free kebab out of the whole thing?
I do remember when you did that. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't, Frank. That is the truth.
I love that she gave you a spot, you know, not even knowing you. To this day, there are people who won't give me spots in their shows. And she just right off the bat gave you.
I know. She put me right up and said, I love you. I love you.
I always gave, remember, but we would have like 17 comics. Frank, what was it like? Because Frank at the time was in Minnesota doing stand-up. Frank, what was it like in Minneapolis doing stand-up at that time?
Well, when I started, I started in Minneapolis in like 1986, you know, and I had gone there for drug rehab, and then I just stayed there. Mm-hmm. And did comedy, and you know, I know that back in those days, I know for a fact that I was depressed a lot of the times, and I was fearful about the future and everything. But when I look back at those early days of doing comedy and meeting all my comedian friends, mm-hmm. It had such a nostalgic glow to me. Like I look at it as just a treasure in my life, that period in my life, you know. And I think a lot of comedians feel that way when they look back. When you're just starting out and it's all new to you and you're meeting a bunch of people and you just end up having so much fun. At least I did.
No, we did too. But the main thing is we wanted to get some, Rachel, we were always looking for men, right? Remember, I lassoed myself a fireman and you were always, it was like, comedy was like an afterthought, sweetie. Don't act like it wasn't.
I always wanted to be one of those women that was like, it was okay being alone. I loved myself. No, I was
fuck off, Rachel.
I was like throbbing with loneliness, and I would date the guys just zoom past every red flag, just not.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Alcoholics, like just emergency drunks. Like this one guy pretended to be from the war in Iraq, like he was so drunk.
Oh my God, I remember this guy.
Yes, remember?
Psychopath.
And then he told me later that he wasn't really in the war, but he faked like a limp when he was drunk or something like that. And I was like, oh, it's all right. I guess I'll move in. And then, whenever we were out drinking, he used to go, listen, I got to catch a red eye. All right. I can't say I got to get a red eye. And I'd be like, oh, where? And then he would go, I can't talk about it. I got to get a red eye, some business stuff. And then he would stay there, not get a red eye, and just drink aggressively until he infuriated the bartender, and she kicked us out. And later on, I was like, I thought you had to catch a red eye. And he was like, that I just say it, you know, when I'm drunk because it sounds kind of exciting. And I was like,
oh God, I remember that fucking guy. He was pretty cute. I mean, we went out with some doozies, right? What about fucking Kevin? When I went to a wedding, I went to Renee's wedding and he blew off the wedding for football, and then he showed up without shoes, sweetie.
No shoes?
No shoes to the wedding. That's right. And I was in the wedding. And guess who I was walking down? Renee just died. You know Renee. He didn't show up with any shoes. Renee just passed away because of breast cancer. And when she got married, I actually walked down the aisle with Richie Castellano, who was in Analyze This. Have you ever seen it? He was one of the men. You've seen that? That was one of the henchmen. In fact, I just looked him up. He's dead now. He actually died in a car accident. God rest his soul. He died. Yes.
But it's important. It's important when you have a wedding that people have credits. So
it's really. It is important when you look at the cast on that show. I just looked to see what his picture because I wanted to look at it when Renee died. He was a real life mobster. Everybody else has their headshot, and he's being taken away in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. It's unbelievable. He's got handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit on because he was a real mobster. Robert De Niro would often pick real-time mobsters to add authenticity to his film. So that's why he picked Richie Castellano, God rest his soul. Anyway, there's a little trip down memory lane, sweetie. We've been with...
Was he a comedian too?
He wasn't a comedian. No, he was just an actor / made man.
Why? Wait, back to the guy, to Kevin coming to the wedding with no shoes. Was it just dogs out, or did he have flip-flops?
I don't know. No flip-flops. He would never be caught dead in flip-flops. You know how Kevin is. But he had no shoes, and he came with Steve, actually. The one thing that I like to do is fuck a circle of friends. I'm just kidding. I get passed around like an old whore. Anyway, like I pretty much have dated a few friends, which is like really.
It works out like that. We don't shame here. We don't shame. Isn't that right, Frank?
We're shaming. No, Frank is. Are you kidding me? Frank, I was just asking Frank about. He dated a girl in Minnesota, and this sounds. I fell in love with a boy in Minnesota when I was in college. Frank.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you?
Frank,
really?
You never leave a puss unpunished. I know about you.
Never. And she left her puss with me, my cat. So it was
That's
good.
right. Oh, that is true, actually. Four pusses.
Four pusses. Look at that. Look how you brought it back to someplace sweet, like a storybook. Right. Got these two godless whores here, and then you rounded it back out to a nice little fairy tale. You're a good man.
With a happy ending.
Yeah.
With a real happy ending, Frank. We know.
Not enough fairy tales in my life with happy endings, but that's another story.
Sweetie. So, Rachel, I'm so excited because we're throwing Frankie's little birthday party in the backyard, and I'm really thrilled about this.
That will be really nice.
How old is he going to be? Like one?
She's going to be 1 years old. She's very cute.
So tell me one of the things that, like the sweetest things that you like getting serious for 5 seconds, or not, sweetie, or not. One of the things that you like most about being a mother.
I have to say, like, waking up, because there's this little person there that's like all psyched to see you. I mean, it's hilarious every morning. You just walk in and she's standing up and she's like,
or she's not late for therapy like my fucking therapist, right? She's right there, sweetie.
Yeah, she stands up, she jumps up and down. I mean, she wakes us up by kicking like really hard on the wall, which is just hysterical. She throws her whole body against it, and then you walk in there and she's like, "What's that?" It's so funny that I like made a person that like waits for me to wake up.
Now, do you feel like you're getting you're really getting it down, like, because it's a lot to do with shows, with all the stuff
I'm doing. I leave like a shoe everywhere. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
You did that before the baby, Rachel. Stop it.
I know, but I'm even more excited.
Fuck off. You did that before the baby.
I didn't have brain cells to lose, but I'm serious. I'm just walking in the wrong direction. Like, somebody's always telling me that I'm not supposed to go through that door. People are comfortable scolding me in public, I've noticed. Like, I have a very scoldable. That's how I get through my days. People scold me when I'm going the wrong way. They're like, "No, it's here." And I'm like, "Thanks."
That's why I will always stand up for Pete when I say that, this could be, like, Rachel forgets a lot of stuff. Like, literally, I will give you just one example, okay? Well, there's a couple examples, but the one that really sticks in my mind. We did a show together. It took like 7 hours to get into the city. We just passed the firehouse, and then I drive her home. It took like 4 hours in traffic. Okay. Literally 4 hours. And she forgot what was it? She forgot her keys. And then you ended up Ubering back. She forgets her keys.
And then I had backup keys that he put out downstairs for me, like in the basement of the building.
Underneath the mats.
I had also lost those. So he's like, get the backups. And I'm like, the backups are lost too. He's like, yeah, for fuck's sake, Jesus Christ.
And I try to stay calm sometimes because I'm like, oh, so we just passed it though. I could have just dropped you off. Now I have to, you forgot your keys. But Rachel, I have to say one thing about Pete. He's very patient when it comes to this stuff. And that's what I think that's like a really nice characteristic if we're going to, because a lot of the time we love to shit on our people, but he is patient when it comes to that.
He is. I mean, I remember when we first dated, every time we would leave a bar, we would have to go back there to get like my jacket or my bra,
or something, get your underwear. That's right, sweetie.
Yes, exactly.
But that's a good problem to have.
I just litter things everywhere. It drives some people crazy. My sister-in-law, when I leave her home, she's always like, there's plates, there's like a purse and some birth control. And I'm like, that would be mine. Yeah, she runs like a real tight ship.
Well, that's because she has, she has a type A personality and she has OCD. So everything has to be right in place.
She definitely.
I love Erin. I do. Oh,
hyper organized. Yes. But no, I mean,
organized.
No, it's not easy to be with me. I go to the wrong floor.
Well, you should know Frank's ex-girlfriend. I think she did, or the girl that gave him his cat. She did a show called "Fix Up Your Room," and you fucking need that badly, sweetie.
Oh my God, yeah.
No, I think I'm remembering the name of the show, and she was the girl who you're mixing. This girl who gave me Millie and Barney was not my girlfriend. She was a friend of mine, but she has a show, or she had a show. Called While You Were Out, that was on like the Discovery Channel or one of those. That was very popular.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, While You Were Out. Oh, I thought it was called Fix Up Your Room because
that was my memory of it. Because
we're perfect pair.
Was people left their houses and then they redecorated their rooms and stuff. That was the premise of the show.
Oh, okay, I got you. I like the way you just came up with that at the top of your head, sweetie. Yeah. Well, Rachel, listen, if you're disorganized, I remember Rachel was much more, I think you're getting very organized now that motherhood is really, is complimenting you. I feel like you're more organized. Having a child, your room's going to be fucking sloppy. Your house is going to be sloppy. There's going to be toys all over the place. It's impossible to keep up with cleanliness and neatness.
I just dropped like a full avocado toast on my purse. It was just like a pound of avocados and there's just smeared avocado all over the front of it. And I'm not kidding, Frank. I ordered an appetizer at a restaurant, and then I said to my husband, I was like, I ate it, stuffed it in my dumb face.
Right. Yeah.
And then as soon as I was finished eating it, I was like, when do you think the appetizer is coming?
Yeah.
You already ate it.
Just inhaled it.
Like a shadow. You know how they have like shadows for people to stay sober shadow? I need that for my dumbness.
Wow.
It's not good. I mean, Irene is being very lovely and supportive, but
come on, Rachel. But you know what? I think a lot of it is you don't place. I mean, I actually pulled a Rachel. I actually use that phrase now. No offense, sweetie. But I walked into a stranger's house. I told you when I was in Florida, and I'm glad I didn't get shot. I made myself very comfortable on the couch. I practically fixed myself a fucking sandwich. And some woman walks in that I've never seen. She's staring at me. Did I tell you about this? She was staring at me.
Oh my God.
I was supposed to go to my friend Thea's house. She said, just walk in. I'm running late. So I walked into some stranger's house, sat myself on the couch, made myself extremely comfortable, kicked up my feet, and this woman walks in, this lovely Filipino woman. Thank God, because if she was like some fucking white trash woman, she probably would have loaded up a gun and shot me right in the face. Sweetie, you know how they're fucking crazy there.
They're allowed to do that down there too. She could have killed you and not gone to jail.
I know. Oh my God. I'm just, you know what? I think, I'm just glad that she didn't, because then her husband ran out because she looked at me and I go, I'm sorry, is this Via's apartment or house? And she goes, she didn't say anything. And then her husband ran out of the bedroom. It was very scary, sweetie.
Wow. Did you at least get to make the sandwich?
No, I didn't, Frank.
Oh, that's too bad.
I didn't. God damn it. Anyway, but I did call that pulling a Rachel. But you know what, Rachel? You know what? It's because you don't place emphasis on things because you're so sweet and generous. You're not like somebody who's like so stingy that you have to take inventory of everything that you have every single time you leave the goddamn room. You know, but I'm afraid that you're going to leave the baby behind.
Only Irene would put that spin on it. That I literally I've lost my driver's license, my passport. I mean, I'm on like a terrorist watch list.
As long as you don't leave Frankie in a fucking rest stop somewhere, sweetie, then I'm not going to complain about anything.
Don't leave her. Don't leave a baby on the top of your car.
Don't do it. A lot of people do that. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, no, that would not.
Like you're placing like emphasis on a cup of coffee, and then you leave your baby on the car and you forget her.
Luckily, I can't drive, but I will say this, the babysitter, like when she comes and I give the little speech that you give, like the mom speech before, I'm like, so here are her things. She kind of dismisses me. Like she knows I'm not an authority figure. She's like, we're good. Frankie and I will kind of take it from here. And I'm like, oh, they never want to hear that from me. They just kind of look at me like, no, you're not the person I need to listen to.
Yeah, right. You're not, we're not taking this advice. This is not sage advice from Rachel.
I'm like, what we do is we usually, and then I say things out loud that I don't think have to be said. I'm like, and then she usually sleeps and during the nighttime, and they're like, please leave. And I'm like, I apologize. I wasted both of our time.
So I would say like the hardest part for you with Frankie was like actually the sleeping, right? Because you weren't getting any sleep, sweetie. You weren't sleeping at all. Do you feel like you're getting more sleep now?
A little more, but I actually take something. Sleeping is not. Do you sleep, Frank?
I sleep like 5 hours a night, but
That's Frank?
but I also always have a nap in the afternoon too.
Do you have trouble sleeping?
Not really. You know, the thing is I've never had insomnia, and I think for the simple reason that I love staying up late, and it's never like a problem for me if it's 2 a.m. and I'm not falling asleep. It's 2 a.m. and I'm watching a movie or I'm reading. It's awesome. And I love the middle of the night. So it's never a problem for me if I'm not falling asleep, except like if I have to get up the next morning, which never happens anymore since the pandemic. But
right.
Do you live alone or with your wife?
I live alone with my cat. But so if I but then if I have to get up, I'm like, just whatever amount of sleep I get. There's nothing I can do about that, you know. So
right.
I think the thing is I always have had insomnia, but I've embraced it, you know.
Yeah.
I like it. And I've always, since I was a little kid, I've always loved staying up late, and that's never left me. When I was a kid, I wanted to stay up to watch The Tonight Show and the movies that were on after The Tonight Show. And I'm still like that to this day, although I don't watch The Tonight Show anymore because
Yeah. So I like that. I feel like that's a great philosophy. I shove a lot of sleeping pills in my face so I can sleep. I'm like Rachel. I always take Benadryl. I take 2 Benadryls, a couple of sleepy time Advils. In fact, I was nonchalantly recommending it to my friend the other day, and she's like, I think that's really bad advice. And I'm like, not if it helps you sleep, sweetie. You take that down wine, you're good to go.
I'll take whatever. If somebody's like, that'll make you sleep, I'll slam it in my dumb face. One of my friends said to me, I thought a little passive aggressive. One of my girlfriends goes to me, but that's you. You're a medicine taker. You're just a medicine taker. You know, people describe you and then you're just like, oh, fuck off.
Fuck off. I'm not a medicine taker.
You're just a medicine taker.
I've definitely had periods in my life when I was a medicine taker, believe me.
He did. And now he's not. Now he's good to go. Frank, I like your attitude because do you feel like exhausted the next day though if you don't sleep?
I think that's just a natural state for me. Like I think it's the reason why when I took my COVID vaccine, I didn't feel like I had side effects because all the stuff that people were talking about.
Right.
Oh, I took the second dose and I was so tired. I was exhausted. I couldn't move. I'm like, well, that's how I feel all the time. So it's
right. Yeah. Rachel tried to blame her forgetfulness on COVID vaccination too. And I said, no, sweetie.
I think it's the COVID itself. I feel like I got dumber after COVID, but you might be right. It's hard to parse out with my baseline dumbness.
No, but you know what? It's a legitimate thing.
I mean, the appetizer thing happened after COVID. That was very crazy. I hadn't even had a drink, Frank. And I didn't know what appetizer I got. But you're right. It's hard because I went to a neurologist and he's like, well, I don't know because you were doing all this stuff before. So you might just be kind of on a dumb side.
No, but Rachel, you got 3 out of the things that he mentioned to you, right? And by the way, you know what you do? Do you really want to hear what you do? Sometimes you're thinking like you check out You're somewhere. I've seen it. And so you might have been eating while you're thinking. You might have been inhaling the appetizers, not paying attention. It's almost like a form of hypnosis. And then when you come back, the appetizers are gone and you don't know where they went.
I need you in my own head to make excuses for all my horseshit. That was the most elaborate. I mean, thank you. All I could say is thank you for that.
I don't. All I know is
the compassionate lies.
The one time I had avocado toast, I did wish that I had forgotten about it, but I remember.
I mean, it's just a smear all over my purse. It's just covered in avocado now. And I just kind of look at it like I should do something about that, but then I just nap.
No, just leave it, sweetie. Take a little nap. Take it while you can get it. So, sweetie, what's going on? We're running out of time. I want to make sure that
yes.
you can talk about what you're working on. You have that amazing podcast that I absolutely love with Jessica Kirson.
We do a Zoom show, Jesse and I, and I've been on the road a bit. I'm going to be in Boston. Is it Boston? Yes. I think
Laugh Boston?
Yes, Laugh Boston on June 4th and 5th.
Uh-huh.
And where else am I? I'm going to be in Rochester coming up. If you go to my Instagram, Rachel Feinstein _ I put all my dates on there. So I have some of those dates are coming up, and I'm in a documentary called Hysterical with a bunch of other really funny female comics.
Oh, I want to see. I saw the for that. I want to see that.
It's it's fun. It's really interesting, and is
that what service is that on? Is that on Hulu or
that's on Hulu?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look for that.
And the rest of the time, I'll just be kissing my Frank poster.
And I'll be making out with it too, sweetie. That makes two.
Out of my bed.
That makes two of us. Frank, do you have any shows coming up, sweet boy?
I have June 8th, which is 3 weeks from today, Tuesday, June 8th. Trace you and I will be doing our next live streaming Mystery Science Theater style movie riff show of the movie The Lost Missile from 1958, starring a very young Robert Loggia. So check that out.
Well, Frank, Rachel, we have to go when everything reopens and Frank does his the Mads in Brooklyn, which I'm hoping it happens again. Rachel will have to come with me. We'll have to come see you.
Love to, and I'm gonna come see you guys too.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
I love you, and I'm in love with you.
I'm in love with you madly too, and I'm going to see you on Tuesday, and I'm going to talk to you later. So don't go anywhere, Rachel.
I can't wait. We'll talk a little bit. We'll talk through everything. I love
Thanks
you.
for being on the show, sweetie. We love you.
I'm
Irene Bremis.
I love you guys too. Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetie. Love you. I'm Irene Bremis. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'll post everything that I'm doing, which is not a hell of a lot. Frank, I love you. You're the best. And we'll see you next Tuesday, bitches. Mwah.
Right. That's it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Check us out next week when Frank and Irene sit down with, you know what? I don't know what these two are going to do next, but we'll see you next week.